Hey, it's Rob. Welcome to Axel's Garage. We are out here with Oscar. Oscar is the 87 R1500, better known as the C10 GMC pickup that we have. And it's an all-original, 6-cylinder, TBI, fuel injected, and we're having some cold start and some cold running issues with it. So we've been tinkering along, trying to, we pulled some codes out of it in a previous video. We did some cleaning the throttle body and things like that, and we're trying to narrow down and not just throw parts aimlessly. We're trying to narrow down so that we're throwing in the right direction, I guess, because we are throwing a little bit. They're inexpensive parts that we're using or that we're replacing at this point, so doing a little bit of it, maybe maintenance, because 35-year-old vehicle is going to require some newer parts. So previously we just did a video on replacing the thermostat and gasket, and hopefully that'll put us in the right direction. But while we were at it, we did have a coolant temperature sensor code, and we are having cold start issues and we're having cold idle issues. So the coolant temperature sensor plays a big part in that. This one is rusted a lot more than it should be for the vehicle that it's in, because we know the engine was replaced some time ago. It did sit, so it could be rusty because it sat. This costs out from anywhere from 5 to 10 years. We don't know. Coolant temperature sensor, relatively inexpensive, and it points directly at some of the problems that we're having, because the coolant temperature sensor needs to tell the ECM the temperature of the engine, so the ECM can make its adjustments to the idle air control in order for the vehicle to idle and run good at low temperatures. So with the thermostat in there, we know that we should be getting up to normal operating temperatures at 195 degrees. But if that coolant temperature sensor isn't seeing that or giving that good information back to the ECM, there is potential that it's not going to run well. So we're going to do the coolant temperature sensor, and I'll link it in the description below. We got one from AC Delco. I'll link it down below. Made in China, AC Delco. And it's real simple. It's already got thread sealer on it. Screws right into the intake. 3/4 inch wrench or socket or whatever you want to use. I usually use a deep socket, and we should be able to stab this right in. We'll lose a little bit of coolant, but we already got coolant all over the place from replacing the thermostat. No big deal. Giving you the best view I can on this vehicle. Your coolant temperature sensor lives right here, right next to the thermostat housing. It is screwed directly into the intake manifold, into a water jacket, so we're gonna pop the connector off, slide it out of the way, and we're going to put a 3/4 inch socket on it, and we should be able to slide the deep socket right over it, and we should be able to turn it out. It's going to be tight because it's corroded in there, and it's really tight. So I am going to get a wrench that'll give me a little more leverage, and we'll try to get that out. Okay, so using a breaker bar that I shouldn't have to use to get this temp sensor out. It's finally starting to turn. So now I should be able to take my ratchet enough to get that sensor out. There it is. And you can see here, I'm just gonna, we have some coolant peeking out, and I'm just gonna try to wipe it away a little bit. Just like that is fine. A lot of corrosion around the base of it. the new one. Where are we? Here's the new one. Looks just like the old one. It's already got some thread sealing compound on it. I'm gonna slide it in, or I could salt it by hand. It's really up to you how you want to do it. You're gonna drop the sensor in. Start it by hand. Slide the deep socket over it. Continue as far as I could go by hand. And then I'll take my ratchet and just snug it up. You see how it doesn't need to go all the way in. You could see the pipe sealing compound on the top, just a hair of it on the top, so we know the pipe sealing compound is in the threads that it's engaging with. I'm going to put our connector on, and that's it. So here's my old one, pretty crusty. Doesn't mean it didn't work. We're hoping it didn't work, because we're hoping this could be part of our problem. And based on the symptoms that we're having, the codes that we pulled out, the coolant temperature sensor shouldn't be reading correctly, because we know we got a good idle air control in there. We know now that the engine's getting up to temperature the way it should be. So if the computer is seeing that engine temperature get to where it should be able to make the adjustments it needs for this thing to run better at idle. Let me know in the comments below if you've run into this cold running problem. The only thing we really haven't been able to figure out is exactly how the MAP sensor, the manifold absolute pressure sensor, plays into this whole equation of the adjustments, because there really aren't many adjustments the vehicle can make. It could add fuel, and it could take away or add air with the idle air control valve. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of adjustments it's going to make. So let me know down below if you can guide me in the right direction. That'd be great. That's it today from Axel's Garage. I'll link everything we used in the description below, and as always, thanks for watching.